Hey guys, Dragon Ball for Life here today, and I'm back with another video. Now I'm going to be reacting to Saiyan Scholar once again. Today's video is going to be Super Saiyan Blue is Disturbing. Now I reacted to his last video, Super Saiyan God is Ridiculous, I think it was. And he was basically doing power scaling for Super Saiyan God through the manga and showcasing how powerful he is through, numerical values and stuff. And it was quite interesting. I did say I was going to watch the DBZ one because I want to see where he got the difference in power between what's the thing called Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Mystic Gohan. I felt like it was too much of a difference in power. Like he said, like 78 times more powerful, or 61 I think, which I just felt it was ridiculous. But that's for a later date. Today I want to do the Super Saiyan Blue one. I wonder if he's still going to continue on with the manga's version. Most likely he will continue with the manga version. Like I said, I haven't really read the manga until we got to like the Moro arc and the Granola arc. So there's a lot of stuff that he's gonna be talking about that he's gonna be covering stuff that happened in the manga that I never saw before. So yeah, let's get into it.
We can dive into the manga's Universe 6 tournament as well as the brief mention of the Resurrection F events. Make sure you haven't skipped any of the previous parts, as you'll need to know where we are in terms of power, because today you will find out why Super Saiyan Blue is disturbing in terms of power. This video is sponsored by Skills. You want to sharpen their skills in tons of media such as animation, design, storytelling, music, and much more. The class...
I remember that they did do the Resurrection of F manga, and it was for the DBZ stuff. It was promotional stuff for the movie. They did it in the manga, and then when Dragon Ball Super came in, and they redid the Battle of Gods because they didn't do the manga. They redid that, and when they had to do the Frieza one, he's like, "Well, I already did it for Dragon Ball Z one, so for the Dragon Ball Super one, I'm not gonna do it." So technically, they skipped out the Resurrection of F. They did have it, but they skipped it, and they just directly went to the tournament, Universe 6 vs. 7 tournament.
When we move on to the time frame around Resurrection F in the manga, Goku and Vegeta's base forms appear level in sparring. This is important because it balances out Goku and Vegeta's base forms for the Universe 6 arc. The detailed events of Resurrection F are actually skipped in the manga, so we do not know exactly how the events play out in manga form. We just know the main events did play out in some way. So again, we can only take what we see in the manga because we know with evidence that anime events differ from manga events, but with similar direction. Let me quickly debunk the Saiyan Beyond God form again. The panel for this appears in the Dragon Ball Z promotional manga for the Resurrection F movie. It was an unfinished promotional manga, and is not actually part of the Dragon Ball Super manga continuity, nor was it ever said to be linked. Yes, it's the same event of Frieza, but a different continuity.
I will take it as like how the movies did, since the Dragon Ball Z one compared to the Super anime, they do have some connections, but they're not 100% correlated. Same thing with the the anime compared to the manga. They have some correlations, just not completely. So I get where he's coming from there, but it's like, well, if you don't have the Resurrection of F story event, and they did do it, but they just skipped over it and it happened, it's like, then how are you gonna take it? You have to take it into place somehow. So yeah, I can see where he's come from, but it can be kind of a problem to some.
Which came out before Dragon Ball Super, so that's important to note. There are different continuities in Dragon Ball. Once you understand that, things are much more easier to understand, and it stops any crossovers of continuities and mixing up the powers. That's why we cannot bring in scaling from the Resurrection F movie or the anime series, because it would invalidate the manga-only scaling. Saiyan Beyond God is never ever mentioned in the official Dragon Ball Super manga. No Super Saiyan God power on base form. See Goku and Vegeta training after the events of Golden Frieza. We do not know the time span, it just says recently. As we go along, we may find out the time span, but in terms of power, the only information we get is after meeting Beerus, Goku and Vegeta went to Whis for training. Their strength evolved into a power that surpassed even God, Super Saiyan Blue. So when it says evolved, it literally means they obtained Super Saiyan Blue, which is stronger than Super Saiyan God. That's it in simple terms, thus implying both obtained Blue and both obtained God. So in terms of their base form power-ups, we currently know there have been 2 periods of training. once before Resurrection F to obtain Blue, and now in this chapter after the Frieza events. Remember, this is training with Whis, an angel, so power growth is expected in terms of base, especially if they did achieve Blue. They had to have trained hard, which means we can apply the minimum training boost of 1.25 times to base strength for each of the 2 training times.
See the discrepancy of power in the other one, like in the anime and stuff. Their base is equivalent to Super Saiyan God, so the multiplier of Super Saiyan God is added to their base, and then you have the stats, added on with Super Saiyan, and then God again. Which I think the multiplier for God should, decrease. I think the initial increase gave them a significant power boost, but I don't think that multiplier is continuously throughout the thing. But here's the thing about that. Just think about how crazy it is, because this one, at most, you can do like the first time they train against Frieza, 1.25 times stronger than base, then do that once again. So at most they'll be like, around like 2.5 times stronger than they were in base than in the beginning, which is not even that powerful compared to what we see in the manga. So the manga version of them, anime version of them, are significantly more powerful than the manga version, which kind of makes them kind of weak, really weak, if I'm being honest. So the multipliers in this is going to be significantly lower. Even if he's trying to suggest it's super high, I don't think it's that high, to be honest.
Times, meaning they go up 2 tiers of power in base. Vegeta initially had the higher base going in, coming off Battle of Gods, so we will calculate his and then match Goku's to his, because that's where Goku is now due to plot balance. And it makes more sense for Goku's base to catch up to Vegeta.
Also, I want to say something. What do you guys think about Whis' training? Should I make a video talking about Whis' training? Because personally, I feel like Whis' training isn't as useful or as impressive as I would expect it to be, because you think that with the amount of potential that Goku and Vegeta have, the level of power they had and the level they were at, that they would have gotten way more stronger. I know they got Vegeta stronger through training alone, which didn't really make sense. They should just made him do the ritual. Like they had a ritual there for a reason. Now they're just like, you can train to get stronger. But they say that, but then after that, what did they do? Their powers barely increased. And every time their powers did significantly increase, it wasn't by training with Whis. It was by being in a fight that they could not handle. And the reason I say this is because they've been outshunned by other characters that were far weaker. Look at Frieza, trained by himself for just his henchmen for 4 months, surpassed their Super Saiyan Blue where they were getting trained by Whis. Then we see, Trunks surpassed them just by getting angry, and they've been training with Whis and still barely got that much stronger. Then we see, what's the thing called? Kale coming in and then doing their fusion of Kefla, and they surpassed them once again, and they're trained with Whis, and they got surpassed by characters that were far weaker than them. Then we have Broly, who just came into the fight and fought these guys who've been trained quite a bit with Whis with already this high level power, and he surpassed them easily. Then we have now the newest movie where Gohan and Piccolo have played catch up. Some say, well, they're not as strong as the current ones, but they still played catch up, and that was them just fighting on their own, training on their own, and fighting these enemies. Whereas Goku and Vegeta had continuously trained with Whis and have they had a higher advantage of power, and they really got stronger. Like, I've talked about this quite a bit about how weak they are and how they get overpowered and overshunned and get characters match up to their powers quickly by doing barely much. But this topic I'm talking about, I'm specifically talking about Whis and his training, because technically, yes, the blame should be on Goku and Vegeta not getting stronger, but it also should fall on Whis. If Whis is an angel, and if he's so powerful, and if he's such a great master, then how come these guys are getting overshadowed by other characters from just a couple of fights and their little, small level training? If he's that great of a trainer, they should get significantly more powerful and improved. So yeah, I think Whis' training is kind of overrated. I think it's kind of trash. I think these characters can get way stronger by just normally training without even needing the help of Whis. Because if Whis is that powerful, then how did Gohan and them? Unless you're saying that Goku and Vegeta are just very weak and they can't get, a high level power. But because by that logic, they could just, Piccolo and Gohan could train with Whis and they would get even more powerful. And Broly.
Than it is for Vegeta's to get weaker and go down to Goku's. So in this scale, we have base Goku and Vegeta at 380. This is during the first training with Whis, upon them getting Super Saiyan Blue for the first time. Their Super Saiyan Blue power is 600 billion, making the Super Saiyan Blue multiplier 1.6 billion from base form. We cannot give a reading for Frieza here because we don't know the details about his power in the manga at this point. We just know he was defeated. After Golden Frieza, the second training period with Whis, as I said, Goku and Vegeta's base forms could reasonably go up a tier and would now be 475, making them 475 times stronger than their Buu Saga selves. And it's worth noting that their base forms at this point in Dragon Ball Super could handle Kid Buu. The Super Saiyan Blue power would now reach 760 billion. Once the arc initiates for the Universe 6 tournament.
They said base form, so yeah, that means that their base form would be stronger than Super Saiyan 3. Technically, kind of like in GT when Goku, I don't know if Vegeta also got a power increase to that level. I wouldn't go that far for him. But Goku definitely at base was, stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then the Buu Saga.
Goku and Vegeta trained together, presuming all out for 3 years straight. It's important to note that there is no specified increase to power in the manga, so literally any increase will be headcanon. But based on previous training knowledge, we know Goku and Vegeta do get stronger through training, so some growth would be reasonable. But we have to minimize it as much as possible and keep a lid on the headcanon increases. And that's...
Yeah, that's too... You have to lowball it if you want to be as fair as possible. But if you think about it also logically, they did spend 3 years there constantly battling, so getting a 1.25 times increase of power is kind of very abysmal for the amount of training they did. But then again, you really want to be very conservative with the numbers and stuff and estimates, because then a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you're highballing them and stuff. And if you can prove a character is very powerful while lowballing them, then, you wouldn't even need to highball them. And then you can, highballing, you could just showcase they're even more ridiculous.
That's why I'm only increasing their power by 1.25 times at this point, as it's still clear when they leave the time chamber and fight the Super Saiyan Blue, their stamina is still appalling. So a little more than 1.25 times is fine for 3 years of training, in order to keep our numbers as grounded as possible. Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, 1 trillion.
He defended himself from that time skip by predicting our hit one attack. Damn, Kefron makes it sound like it's child's play.
In the first round of the tournament, Goku fights Botamo, and it's stated Goku is definitely stronger, but he can't inflict damage on Botamo's abilities. Goku literally overpowers him massively, but he is not tanking levels. So 1.75 times Botamo. Goku then fights Frost and is able to overwhelm his first form massively. He is essentially just toying with Frost. But then third form Frost is able to start overwhelming base Goku. Frost, we use in his final form, the same as Frieza's on Namek, but not the buff 100% version. So essentially, his growth is similar to that of 50% Frieza here. But in Super Saiyan Goku, at 31,250. Vegeta takes on Frost, but it's worth mentioning the whole point of Piccolo's fight was to tire out Frost as much as possible before Vegeta steps in, which was what happened. Frost was breathing heavy and was losing his cool. Vegeta steps in as a Super Saiyan and wipes out Frost much faster.
Frost, he said in his third form was overpowering base Goku, and base Goku is supposed to be stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku by the end of the Buu Saga. And then he went Super Saiyan to try to match up with his final form. But if Piccolo could handle it, even though Piccolo couldn't beat him, he was able to handle it, then that would mean that Piccolo would be well past Super Saiyan 3. That would mean that he would be with the multipliers that they have that's past Super Saiyan 3, on top of that with a Super Saiyan. So he would be around those ranges, which is ridiculous in power scale when it comes to him, because before, when we got to the Buu Saga, people were arguing that he was maybe around semi-perfect cell to perfect cell, and at that time he was in the Cell Saga he was around Android, I think Android 17, and the difference of that power is not that much of a higher gap, but that's what people put him at. But now looking at this, that would basically put him at an insanely more powerful. If he had that much of an increase in, let's say, Dragon Ball Z from the Cell Saga to the Buu Saga, he could have probably wiped out Buu himself. So, or Fat Buu himself at least. But it's to me, I just feel like his power scaling doesn't make sense. How did he get that much more powerful?
Than Goku could. So I put that down to the battle condition of Frost, not Vegeta being currently stronger than Goku. Super Saiyan Vegeta fights Magetta, and I don't want to dive into lifting feats because lifting feats are super inconsistent in Dragon Ball. But if it's worth anything to you, and you think lifting feats
I respect that, because I feel like a lot of people try to take lifting feats as literal feats. Screw Attack did this with their Goku vs. Superman video, and they went completely with the strength that. Also, they, for some reason, did his strength without his manipulation of using Ki to amplify it. but they basically stated how he was like on Otherworld and he was training for the tournament or coming back to Earth or whatever, and he was struggling to lift up 40 tons in his base, and he had to go Super Saiyan to be able to handle the 40 tons. So they maxed out his base 40 tons, and then they multiplied that with the Super Saiyan transformations, and then they made the gravity formula based off of that. But the thing that I talked about, and I actually made a video on, if you guys want to go check it out, go check it out. I talked about the 40 tons thing and how it's inconsistency and power scaling. Some people might not even take it as that. They just say, oh, well, the gravity on there is heavier, he was fun, whatever. But for me personally, I think it was just an inconsistency. I think it was just incorrect. The problem with Toriyama is he's not, I don't want to make fun of his intelligence, but he's not the smartest guy. So when he puts numerical value on stuff, he kind of underwhelmingly lowballs their power. We've seen what they've been able to do and what they're capable of. So for them to be struggling with 40 tons doesn't make sense. So yeah, I agree with him. Don't take the numerical values too much with value in face. Like how much weight they can lift, because he did the 40 tons thing and that didn't make any sense. I already disproved in that video. Also, when they do the speed, like the distance, he did with a snake weight saying it's 1,000,000 kilometers and the amount of time it took Goku to cross over it. I also talked about in that video, so you guys should also go check that one out. I talked about how that's an inconsistency in power scaling. It just didn't make any sense.
Calm themselves as time goes on, then Super Saiyan Vegeta at this point can't lift a weight of around 1,000 tons.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Less, as it was just one leg of Vegeta. In terms of Vegeta's power, he could almost tank Super Saiyan Vegeta's attacks, but Vegeta feared fighting him up close, so 1.75 times Super Saiyan Vegeta is reasonable. That was until the insults of Vegeta totally lost his battle spirit. When Vegeta fights Kaba gets the initial advantage by using strategic methods to fight Vegeta. However, once Vegeta regained his composure and saw through it, he smashed Kaba down comfortably. Vegeta says Kaba in his normal state is about as strong as himself, but obviously the way they both look after the scuffle, you could fool me. So I put base.
At least this one makes a little more sense. I do know a lot of people say that they don't like how they incorporated Super Saiyan God form into their base, because now if any character stacks up to their base or he's even close to it, that would put them around Super Saiyan God level and make them around universal level, which I understand. So they prefer this one more. Though for power scaling terms itself, I would rather prefer the anime over the manga. I don't like the fact that in the manga, like, their base is still the same level and they barely get that much stronger, and they have to go Super Saiyan God for the amplifier. But I do agree with the consistency in it. I think if they were more consistent in the writing in Super, I think there will be less of a problem there. Because in the Super, anime, they say the same thing. Kabu's like, Vegeta's like, we're equal. And then this one they're saying we're equal. And he's arguing against, he's like, from what I've seen, it doesn't look like they are, but at least in this one's more reasonable, because base Vegeta is only a bit stronger than he was before. Well, he's quite a bit stronger, but he's not as to the level as in the other one. So he's not like Super Saiyan God level. He's not like a universal level in base. So that makes more sense, because Kaba being that level in base didn't make sense. Personally, I just took it as Vegeta trying to hype him up in the anime, and him holding his power back and stuff, whatever. But still, it doesn't make much sense. I think they could have still done it a good way. The best way to do it is just never have that line in the first place. Just be like, Vegeta's like, you're good, but I'm going easy on you, like something like that.
Vegeta at 1.25 times Kaba after he got around those strategic moves, where Kaba is still strong enough to damage him if he connects. However, Super Saiyan Blue demolishes Kaba, no competition.
You show poor judgment, Goku. Now that I know what you're doing, I can outwit you by being harder to predict.
When it comes to hit, things are very interesting in terms of Goku and Vegeta's power comparisons. We state Vegeta wasn't even able to perform at 10% of Super Saiyan Blue's usual strength due to the overuse of it, and Beer is asking if Super Saiyan God Goku had surpassed Vegeta's weakened Blue and hit, with we saying yes, possibly. In order to make sense of this, because it is confusing.
I remember when this happened, a lot of people were saying Super Saiyan God is stronger than Super Saiyan Blue. Personally, I was running with that too, not because I actually believed it. It's stupid to think that they got this new transformation that's weaker than their previous. But the reason I ran with it is because I hated Super Saiyan Blue. And on top of that, I felt like Super Saiyan Blue was very, very, it was underwhelming, you know? You would think that it would have such a level of power, but it failed against every opponent it went against. Frieza just came back 4 months of training, whooped its ass. Then it got whooped by Hit, which I was fine with. Then he's doing, he gets whooped by Goku Black easily, has Trunks surpass him. Then he's getting, whooped in the Tournament of Power, continuously using it. So when this happened, a lot of people believed it because of how they showed it. But it wasn't the case. The only reason I'm mentioning it is to showcase the fact that their portrayal of Super Saiyan Blue is so bad that people think the previous transformation was more powerful and were willing to run with it. This left for me like the idea of maybe they should showcase Super Saiyan Blue in a better light. If they did it in a far better way, this wouldn't have been an argument. But the fact that they made Super Saiyan Blue look so weak, that's the reason why a lot of people felt that way. Also, the fact that they're putting that stats in, that would make Hit's accomplishment of beating Vegeta far less impressive.
Super Saiyan God Goku is the best benchmark to work from, as it appears to be a non-weakened Super Saiyan God. What you should take from this is that Vegeta was extremely weakened whilst in Blue.
Yeah, and they did incorporate that in the anime where they Super Saiyan Blue consumes energy, but they never stated he was like 1/10 of his power, and that now Super Saiyan God surpasses him. Also, if it's 1/10, he lost 1/10 of it, and Super Saiyan God now surpassed it. That would mean that Super Saiyan Blue, we got an official multiplier, at least in the manga, is less than 10 times multiplying of Super Saiyan God. Because with 1/10 of it, Super Saiyan God was able to surpass it, so it means less than 1/10 would be Super Saiyan Blue's multiplier. People put it 50 times because it incorporates Super Saiyan in it. Makes sense. But in the manga version, it's at least less than 10, so it makes them even weaker than the anime.
Against Hit, due to this reason, over 50 times weaker than his normal Blue self. We say not even 10% is very true. It's more like Vegeta was around 1 to 2% power, as 2% of Blue would be level with Super Saiyan God due to the 50 times multiplier. Quite a ridiculous...
even if you put it at 1% and it wasn't even 10, it would still not be 50 times. The math is incorrect there. So yeah, I think in the anime you can argue that yes, it's a 50 time multiplier, and I wouldn't argue with you there. But in the manga, they showed with statistics and stuff. I don't think they're 50 times stronger in Super Saiyan Blue in the manga. I think they're weaker. I think he's wrong with that.
If you ask me. But it was stated, and this was the whole point of the fight, to realize that Blue had a severe stamina weakness. You couldn't keep turning it on and off. So, due to Hit easily dealing with Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, but stated to be drastically weaker than Super Saiyan God Goku, I give the following measurements of power. Also, do note that suppressed Hit was toying with Super Saiyan 1 Goku. Now Hit powers up. Super Saiyan Blue is able to break through Hit's time skip, meaning it has no effect on Super Saiyan Blue. As previously stated, Hit's techniques won't work on those stronger than him. So Super Saiyan Blue is stronger than Hit and able to send him flying, and the Kamehameha put Hit in fear. He dodges it.
This is where he increases power in the manga too?
That Hit has deadly techniques that can make him stronger and even kill Goku, but couldn't use them during the fight, otherwise he would be disqualified. Taking that into account, I see Super Saiyan Blue Goku as 1.25 times Hit's raw power, but Hit's deadly techniques could still kill Goku if he connects with them. Being 1.25 times stronger doesn't mean you are invincible or cannot die. It just means you can overwhelm an opponent with raw power, which is what happened with Super Saiyan Blue vs. Hit. He did that. And to back this up, at the end of the fight, it stated Goku and Vegeta could have beat Hit if at full power. So Super Saiyan Blue Goku at 1 trillion, Hit full power in terms of his raw power at 800 billion. With his...
Wait. So Hit in the manga does not have the adaptation ability. Because in the anime, when he was getting overwhelmed by Goku, he just stood in the stance like this and then increased his power as time passed on. And as he got stronger, he was able to increase his time skipping ability. And then Goku had to use Kaioken times 10 on top of it to do the thing. But in this one, even a full powered Hit is weaker than Super Saiyan Blue. So that means he was bodying Vegeta because he was down on energy. A suppressed version was weaker than Super Saiyan God, and a full-powered one is weaker than Super Saiyan Blue. Unless if he uses deadly techniques, then he can beat him. But that's not overpowering him. That's just using a technique that can specifically target something.
Could still kill Goku. Coming up next, the Goku Black arc of the Dragon Ball Super manga. You're going to see some scary power jumps in this.
So that's how strong Super Saiyan Blue was in the manga, and he said you're gonna see scary power jumps in the next manga arc. If I'm being honest, no, you're not. Really, you're not. Seeing from this video alone how the power increase was, he said is disturbing. The last video made sense because Super Saiyan God's power increased significantly, but if you look at this one, he did not get that much stronger. If I'm being honest, Goku and Vegeta barely got stronger. The feats from what we saw and the implications of the multipliers didn't increase significantly, so I don't know why it's considered disturbing. And he says the next one is going to be even more is going to be ridiculous, but it's like, if this was considered crazy, I don't think the next one's going to be that crazy. What I'm pretty much trying to say is the anime upped the ante when it came to the power scaling. The manga completely lowered them. So if you do compare manga and anime, which you shouldn't, you shouldn't be putting them both in the same category. You should be differentiating between the two. But if you compare them, it's pointless because in the end of the day, Super Saiyan Goku and the rest of the characters from Dragon Ball Super will obliterate the anime, would obliterate the manga versions. The manga versions are not even close. I mean, a couple of things already in this one that I saw that would put them way lower. One, they didn't absorb the power to their base, into the base, so they already have a major decrease in power in that. Most of the other characters were under, the base in Super Saiyan form, which don't even have the Super Saiyan God multiplier on top of it, so they were already weak. The only one that was supposed to be strong was Hit, but Hit was weaker than Super Saiyan God. It suppressed, and even a full-powered Hit was weaker than Super Saiyan Blue, meaning that he wasn't even a challenge in this manga, and he could have, easily been beaten. And he does not have the adaptive ability that made him stronger. Goku didn't use a Kaioken times 10 on top of it, and to get stronger. So yeah, if I'm being honest, this one makes them look very weak. It didn't really shock my mind. Like, oh my god, they're so powerful. To me, it was like, damn, they're pretty weak. I'm surprised. I didn't know in the manga that he didn't have because in the anime they had the increasing thing. I thought that was also in the manga, but apparently it wasn't present in the manga. Basically makes Hit a lot more underwhelming for me. It's like, well, obviously he's going to get bodied in the Tournament of Power. He has no real, he has nothing to be proud of in his strength. So yeah, I feel like they kind of did Hit dirty in the manga. They didn't really dirty. They made him weak as hell. Like, they really did not want to make him stronger. And a lot of people say they like the manga and how they handle power scaling. Personally, I don't. I don't like this power scaling. I would rather have the more ridiculously high-end power scaling than the low-level power scaling. Because what's the point of bringing the show back if the characters are barely going to get stronger, If you're going to make them stronger, make them significantly stronger. Don't make them, tiny percentages stronger. It's like, okay, then why should we care about these opponents? They're barely, a significant threat. So yeah, looking at the power scaling of the manga, it does not look good. The anime's power scaling is ridiculous. It makes no sense. But I do respect how they're trying to make them more powerful. Whereas the manga, they're just making them weak as hell. Like, Hit has no purpose. Like, what's the point of him there? The only thing he has that's significant is the fact that he can do his, time skip ability. But besides that, but even then, Goku was able to be unaffected by it in Super Saiyan Blue. So yeah. They underpowered Hit. They underpowered the characters. The power scaling is horrible in this. It's very weak and pathetic. Yeah, to be honest, I really don't like the power scaling of the manga, and I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by the power scaling, and I'm not going to be impressed in the next, the next video drops out either. I would have stuck to the anime because the anime power levels jump way higher, whereas this is like, what's the point? It's like they really jump anywhere in power. Yeah. So, just closing statements. Manga versions are weak. The anime version's back to power scaling, but at least they're trying to make them look powerful. The manga just completely weak. Also, I just don't like the manga, if I'm being honest. Besides the more on Granola arc right now. But everything prior to it when the show's coming out, I didn't like. So yeah. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.